An elementary school classroom in a slum is an eloquent poem penned by Stephen Spender, an English poet who studied in Oxford and was keenly interested in politics. He claimed himself as a socialist and a pacifist. In this poem, he has shown concern towards the themes of social injustice and class inequalities. It outshows the plight of poor children who lives in slums. Spender wishes a change in the soiled lives of these children and concerns them to live in a healthier, hygienic, and beautiful environment. He also states the poor condition of the school, which instead of providing better opportunities, is smudging the future of these children. He also highlights the malnutrition and health problems faced by the children living in the slum. He has blamed the government inspector and the visitors for such a deteriorating condition and present a satire about the so-called beneficiaries of government-funded education. The poem is composed in free verse with literary devices like simile, metaphor, imagery, synecdoche, and irony in a very metrical form.
Far, far from gusty waves, these children's face, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor. The tall girl with her weighted down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk, at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. The poet here describes the pathetic and miserable condition of the children sitting in a classroom in a slum school. The children's faces are unlike the usual children of schools. They are far away from the beautiful sights of nature. The children of the slum are also unwanted in society, just as weeds are unwanted in a garden. A tall girl in the classroom is very depressed. She keeps her head down. The girl is perhaps physically and mentally exhausted due to her poverty. There is a boy sitting in the class who is as thin as paper, undoubtedly because of malnutrition. He has big eyes like those of a rat. Yet another boy in the classroom has inherited his father's arthritis. Because of the disease, he has stunted growth and his bones are twisted. He has inherited this disease from his father and recites his lesson from his desk in a mellow but weak voice. There is another sweet boy sitting at the back of the class. He is sitting there unnoticed and dreaming of squirrels playing in a tree. The dull and monotonous atmosphere in classroom is perhaps unable to arrest his attention.
On sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, build, flowery Tyrolese valley, open-handed map awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their future is painted with a fog. A narrow street sealed and with the lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. The poet describes the walls of the schools. They are cream in color, like the color of sour cream. This means that the walls are not clean, they have not been painted recently. The walls are covered with different charts and images that must have been donated by different people. There is a picture of Shakespeare on the wall. His head, which is bald, looks like the rising sun at the horizon. At the time of daybreak, the sun is rising at the horizon and is semicircular like a dome shape. It seems to be behind all the cities. There is a picture of the famous Tyrolese Valley which has beautiful flowers. There is the image of a map which helps all in its own way, but for these children, the map of the world is irrelevant because the slum where they live is different from what is shown in the map. Their world is only what they see out of the window of the classroom, which is the slum. Their future is full of darkness. The future is compared to a narrow street, which means that there is no wide scope available for their future growth. These children are far away from the radiant light of knowledge and education.
Surely Shakespeare is wicked, a map a bad example, with ship and sun and love tempting them to steal, for lives that shyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. On their slack hip these children wear skin, peeped through by bone and spectacle of stills, with mended glass like bottle bit on stone. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their map with slum as big as dome. Summary: the poet says that these children living in the slum area have faced so many hardships that they feel every other person to be their enemy. For them, Shakespeare is an evil man. They did not find the map to be a good thing. They were never liked or loved by anyone. Therefore, they hate almost everyone. Their desire of being loved by others forced them to steal. They live in small home. They have started adjusting to it. Their life is going toward an endless night. This means that their future is full of darkness. These kids are so thin that one can easily see their bones through the thin layer of skin. This skin is like the thin layer of cloth, and the bone beneath are visible through the skin. These kids suffer from malnutrition. They wear spectacles which are made up of steel. They are cheap and very uncomfortable. Even the lenses in the spectacle are repaired. The spectacle look like stone which have been repaired with piece of glass sticking out of them. Here the poet tried to explain that this kid have to face so many hardships in their life. As this slum are getting bigger, they will destroy the future of their children. It is very difficult for such kids to accept from them.
Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut open their lives like catacombs. Break, oh break, open till they break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on golden sands. And let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green lips open, history there whose language is the sun. The poet here talks about the map of the civilized world, and the slums of these unfortunate children are two entirely different worlds. Governors, inspectors, visitors, and other important persons must abridge this gap. They must peep into the world of the children living in the slums. They must make their own world, the world of these slum children too. The unsuitable environment of the slums has blocked all their gates to progress. They are lying shut like catacombs. These obstacles should be broken. Everything that binds them should be broken. They must be allowed to come out of their narrow lanes and dirty slums of the town. Let them enjoy the beauty of the green fields. Their world should extend to the sky blue waves rising over the golden sands. Let the pages of wisdom be open for them. Let their tongues express themselves freely without any check or fear. Only those people make or create history whose language has the warmth and strength of the sun.